Hi and welcome to the channel Pariksha Savi.
This is the first in a series of video we are making for the days leading up to mains 2025. So who are we? We are a couple of UPSC veterans, and between us we have given 8 exams, and this is our attempt to help out others. I think there is a lack of mentorship available in the exam preparation. Also, lack of guidance, especially for students who are preparing by self study without any coaching or anything. So, what is this video going to do? It's going to give you a mentorship, accountability, and guidance program by, and I'm going to do it in the following ways. What I'm going to do is each day at 8 p.m. I will upload a video. I know this one is late, sorry. And in the previous video, I would give you a rough guideline of your targets and how to prepare for them. The focus is not giving you targets and hoping that you will finish them in certain exams, certain hours. Rather, the focus is how you make those targets, how you have to approach them, what happens if you're not able to finish them, and how you make every little decision during the exam process. So, how are we going to do it? See, I know for a fact that apart from few veterans who have mastered their anxiety, everybody else has wasted this week. Today is Monday, the exam was 1 week ago, and more or less people have spent the last week either relaxing, calculating their marks, and comparing their marks from different mark sheets, and basically having a panic attack over what kind of marks they can expect. What most of you haven't done is study, which you should have done. Duh. Uh, so what can we realistically expect from you guys, and what can you do now? See, the result is still 10 to 15 days away. You cannot waste the time. What you can do is slowly ramp up so that you might not be at peak efficiency, but by the time the results come, you can be at somewhat a good pace. For people who are veterans and know how to manage their anxiety, this part is not important. Secondly, for people who are pretty sure they're not going to clear the mains, they are also should be preparing as if they are clearing, because let me tell you, the amount of work you can put up in these 80 something days is way more than what you will achieve in the next year. It's just the pressure. So take it as seriously as you can, and the results will be very different. So today what I'm going to give you work on is these 3 points. Most of the students, especially the first or the second timers who have never cleared mains, and those who have never cleared mains, usually only focus on prelims. It's natural, people say prepare for both, but when you've not given the exam, it's very hard to prepare for it. So a lot of people are not familiar or very good with the mains part of the exam, whose demand is very different from what prelims expect from you. What I'm going to give you as target is how to familiarize yourself with the syllabus. It's not just reading it, it's how to leverage it. Then how to make a plan of action based on your abilities, not on a generic plan of every day. You have to judge what are your strengths and weaknesses and plan accordingly. Then we are going to find out subjects that you can start studying now and what you can leave for later. So let's get to it. First, let me bust some of your major myths. Topics are not compartmentalized. Just because something is mentioned in GS1 doesn't mean it is not overlapping with GS2 or GS3. I will show you examples. You cannot write perfect answers. Maybe out of the 20 something answers you have to write, you might write 2 or 3 excellent answers, couple of good answers, and rest of them average. That's what they expect from you. That's what the toppers are getting. Remember, even the topper only gets 50% marks. As far as I remember, in the last 10 years, no topper has breached more than 52% marks in mains answer writing. Don't expect more. What you need to be good at is writing an average answer as fast as you can, so that you can give the extra 2 to 3 minutes to the excellent answer that you have. Third thing, the coaching institutes and using them for answer writing. Yes, you can use them for answer writing, but when you're learning how to answer write, their demo material or their prepared material is not good. So I'm going to tell you how to actually judge or get better at answer writing also. Fourth thing, no, writing answers, writing notes to make, to learn, to familiarize for them, make pretty notes, none of that works. You only have 80 days left. You need to be able to study very smartly and very efficiently, which means you need to outsource most of the work, and I'm going to tell you how today. Last thing, this is something that I faced personally, and a lot of, since my optional law is law and background is law optional, faced it a lot. We were always going for the most updated data, the most best sources. No, you don't need it. What you need to be able to do is get data from good sources. It might not be the most updated one, but as long as it's an approx data and it's from a good source, it works. For example, let's say there is a report by Niti Aayog of India at 75. Some of its data is now a couple of years old, and there is census 2011. Both work. It depends a lot on context. For example, if you're trying to find the latest sex ratio, you can use the National Family Health Survey data, or you can use the 2011 census data. Both will be acceptable in answer. None is wrong, even though the census is now 14 years late. So please don't focus on collecting the most best updated data. That is not how it works. Now, the things that I'm going to explain today and what I want you to do today. I'm going to teach you today how to read, as I said, how to read the syllabus and how to outsource your note making. Today, first, let's familiarize yourself with the syllabus. The first thing is overlapping topics. What do I mean by overlapping topics? A lot of subjects in GS have more or less the same things. Maybe the perspective changes, but the topic remains the same, the subject remains the same. So when you are judging the relevance of a subject, what you need to be able to do is read them in conjunction rather than read them in compartmentalized. Say, let's say you read art, then history, then society, then geography, then world history. Then you say GS1 is complete and I will get to GS2, which has polity, social justice, governance, and international relations. No. What you need to understand is that these subjects overlap. Let's say this is example 1. In GS1, the topic is society. In GS2, the topic is governance and social justice. In GS3, some topics of economics also have the same issues, and in GS4 ethics you can use the same things. Example, women. In 2023 mains, the topic of women was asked in every paper from essay to ethics to each GS. Does that mean that you read it in silo? No. You compile it at one place. When you read the syllabus, rather than going GS wise, go with overlapping topic wise. When you're preparing for society, prepare for social justice, prepare for other aspects of it from the other GS papers. Similarly, you can see for geography and environment plus somewhat economics. I mean, look at these topics: infrastructure, uh, distribution of key resources, industrial policy comes under this location of industry. Some of the knowledge that you use here, you will use here. So similar for this part. This is more or less the same as disaster and management from environment. When you prepare this, just glance at the PYQs and make notes together. The more you are able to overlap, the less work you have to do. Same for agriculture and geography. Now, these are the overlapping topics. Then there is about learning how you are supposed to judge the importance of a topic. I'm not judging importance. I have covered data using overlapping topics. Judging importance, I will tell you in conjunction with subjects already prepared. See, you have already prepared some things for prelims. If you will see the questions of modern history, most of it you have covered in prelims, the basics. Yes, you need to learn how to write it into an answer format, but more or less you have the material already covered. Same for polity. 70 to 80% of it is already done from a prelims perspective, so you have the basic knowledge. Similarly for economics, somewhat for agriculture, science and tech, environment, and if you have prepared, then art and culture and geography also. What does that mean? You are only completely unfamiliar with very few subjects. What are they? Society. I am including social justice in that. Governance, IR, and security. Apart from these 4 subjects, okay, I will take disaster management also here. You are somewhat familiar with the other subjects. These are your unfamiliar subjects and you need to prepare accordingly. Second thing to keep in mind is how much each subject weighs. And look at it. From this it looks like geography is the most important, but you have to remember society overlaps with social justice, with economics, some questions, for example poverty etc, ethics and essay. It's as important, actually I will say more important subject than geography, which you are already familiar with. Polity, non-negotiable subject. You need it again for GS2. You can use it in essay and also, and somewhat in ethics because sometimes questions come. Similarly for now you know the importance of subjects. We have ranked them as polity, society, geography, and I have already told you the subjects which you're completely unfamiliar with. Now how you're going to juggle these subjects is the next question. What is the thing that you should focus most on? If your background or your optional is not sociology or anthropology or its associated subjects, your main topic should be society and ethics. These are the things that you're most unfamiliar with and you need to start making notes for them. Secondly, there are 2 ways you can approach the next 10 to 15 days till the results come. The first approach is going for the hard topic. Let's say you're completely unfamiliar with the topic and you want to give it a bit go slow and read through the hard topics, as that will give you a slow pace and more peace of mind to understand the subject. The other way is to study the topic that you actually enjoy. What I did was, because I was already a law student, I started with polity. The subtopics in polity that I was unfamiliar with or I hadn't prepared much, I started with them. This was because I already had confidence in polity and I enjoyed the subject. And due to high anxiety, that was a subject I was able to most concentrate on. So 2 ways you can go ahead is either go with the subject that you are completely unfamiliar with, in which case I will suggest security or society, or go with the subject that you're familiar with but some of the subtopics are not prepared. Completely up to you. Now let's come to the fringe topics. World history, most of the time question doesn't come. IR, sometimes some aspects of it you actually prepare for in the prelims but mostly neglected. Science and technology and internal security. Now here the tricky part is understanding the PYQs. If you will look at each of these subjects except science and technology, all 3 have repeated PYQs. What that means is these are predictable to a large extent, especially security and world history. How to approach them? World history, I would say, if you have a basic understanding of the topics that have been asked till date, and if you can answer them, then don't prepare for this topic. More or less that's what it comes from, the questions comes from, and those are often repeated. So giving like literally 1 to 2 days to world history is enough. Sometimes a question comes, so it's better to prepare than regret it. But PYQ should be sufficient. If you have never studied world history and are not familiar with even the basic topics that have been asked in PYQ and the subtopics, then we will have to see how much we can juggle. Now IR is more or less repetitive. they have like 10 to 15 countries that they have a tendency to ask questions. Those questions change according to the context and news of the time, and there are some questions which are often repeatedly in news. Those can be formed into a question. So in IR, what you need to be able to do is, at least for the repeated questions, you should have a set of data which you should be able to mold. IR, you already prepare for prelims, so you have a basic understanding, but the subject required some conceptual clarity to be able to mold the data. Secondly, in IR, it will be very helpful if you can draw world maps and maps of the Indian subcontinent, etc. Now, the best of these is internal security. This subject is usually repeated questions, or again questions which are very, very, very often in news and can be expected to be in questions. This is a very wide topic technically if you look at the sub themes, but I think within a week to 10 days of preparation you can finish the topic comprehensively enough to give good answers. Best part is, again, most of it is repeated questions, so you have to just make a framework or demo answers of what you want to write. What this means is you can write the answer fast, you can write the answer correct, and you can be sure that if not excellent, the answer will be average definitely, which is a plus, so that you can think more on the bouncer questions. Now, bouncer questions usually come in these three topics. Economics is the same as modern history. You have studied the topic for prelims, you have a good conceptual understanding. What you now need to develop is an ability to write answers from that understanding. These subjects are better served by writing answers rather than preparing any material on them as such. And for environment, it's somewhat similar but a bit difficult, because environment is a balance of sometimes very easy questions, sometimes very bouncer questions, so we will take it at a later stage. What I will suggest is, right now, take one of them, society or internal security, usually subjects which you are unfamiliar with, or one of the major subjects, polity, geography. The topics usually people are familiar with, and start preparing from that. This is how you judge a subject and how you're supposed to prepare it. The next thing will be understanding how to write. See, what most people think is that if you write notes in your own handwriting and make it concise, every time repeating it, that's how you learn. No. You learn by asking questions, answering questions, active recall. That is the part where you need to be working on. You should be able to connect different topics and write on them fast, not write a lot of notes on them. So what you need to be able to do is the source material and the notes. These two things are not where you work. Where you work is revision and answer writing. You only have 18 days. You don't have time to write a lot of notes. Yes, you need to make one-pager notes, but those come at the end, not in the starting. What you need to do is get any source material. I will just show you how to do it. Study from that, start understanding from that, start learning from that, and then eventually make one-pager notes. Data part I've already covered, outsource I've already covered. Now this I will show you how to do it. Let's say you have started studying society. Society, take any free material or any coaching material. This is from Vision IAS. Similar red book comes from Forum. There is Physics Wala Udan or something series also. More or less each of them releases these booklets of GS mains subjects. What you need to do is pick any of them. I have taken Vision because it was free on their website. See, this is the first topic in GS1. Salient Features of Society. It's a 20-page topic. If you are unfamiliar with it, read it with roughly 5 minutes a page. You read through the whole thing, you understand it, and your eventual note should look like this. These notes are based on two things: what the Vision material told me, what the PYQs told me, and after writing a lot of answers, what I thought would be good value addition. By the time exam date come, these were half actually. but this is sufficient to write any answer on the topic that UPSC has asked till date. That's it. Now, how do you make these? These are not something that you make on day one. No, this is what you have on day one. You don't need to write anything, don't need to make any notes. You just read this the first time. I'll explain more tomorrow how to do this part and eventually get down to it. Please, please, please do yourself the favor of not making handwritten notes or even complete notes. Your handwriting, your time practicing should go in answer writing, not in other things. Now, second thing, how to leverage coaching institutes and toppers note. I have told you how to leverage coaching and institutes. Now let's come to topper notes. Copy anything and everything that looks good or that can help you in value addition. For example, I copied this from a topper's notes. I liked the way he defined volcano, so I copied it and I used that in my paper. Same way, I liked the way they were so swiftly and simply able to explain earthquake plates, and I copied this. This is how you use toppers notes the first way. Similar thing I did with the coaching way on quality of life. It was an issue a couple of years back. They made this beautiful chart with one data point for each topic, and I just copied it and I practiced this 4-5 times so that I could draw it fast in the paper. Another way you can use your toppers notes is answer writing. I'll explain more on it, but the main crux of it is that when you give other people to check your notes answers, it will not give you the best results. What you should be able to do is take any toppers who has gotten good marks in that subject's answer copy, you vision forums, everybody nowadays upload them, and write those answers. Then compare your answers to the topper's answer. There you will be able to see a way bit difference of how you could have improved your answers, what else you could have written, what else you could have missed. I'll be taking a separate video on answer writing. We'll talk more about it there. I have told you the main subjects. This is the analysis, same thing. You can always, I have taken it from a Telegram channel. It's available there. You can take it from there. So now that we have explained what you can do, what are your targets for tomorrow? See, do a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis of what? SWOT is basically your strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. You don't need to go to opportunities and threat that much, but be clear on your SWOT analysis in the sense of what are your weak subjects, what are the subjects you're good at. Now, how are you going to judge whether you are good or bad? Take the question paper of any subject or take last year's question paper and just verbally try to answer. That's it. Are you able to form some kind of an answer in your mind for that subject or not? That's step 1. If you can, you're good at it. If you can't, well, obvious answers. Now, what we are going to do for your day 1 is start with, as I said, either of those, hard or easy, whatever gives you less anxiety. Pick a topic. My suggestion will be start with security because I think it has one of the most value additions in any of the subjects apart from polity. It has the most widespread use. Essay, ethics, GS1, GS2, GS3. It can be used anywhere and everywhere. If you are not a sociology optional person, pick society and social justice and finish the topic. Start by reading. I will tell you how to make notes from that reading tomorrow. Now this will be a 4 to 6 hour process. I would suggest 4 hours for GS. The maximum time should go to your optional. Now my optional was law, so I will be making a separate video on that. That's about it. If you think I can help you or give you more pointed answers from any aspect of the preparation, please let me know. And I will try to cover it in future videos. Thank you.